In the distant future, humanity had spread its reach across the stars, joining a galaxy filled with diverse and powerful species. The Galactic Council, an alliance of ancient and highly advanced civilizations, regarded humans with curiosity and suspicion. For a long time, humans were viewed as a primitive species, having achieved space travel in mere centuries compared to the millennia of others. But what the galaxy did not anticipate was humanity's indomitable spirit strive to survive, to innovate, and to fight when all odds seemed impossible. That spirit had a name within the Galactic Council, whispered in both admiration and fear. Phi Humanity. Yeah. Chapter 1. An Unlikely Alliance. Frairen, a tall, reptilian warrior from the proud and noble Vudrak species, was a seasoned soldier. His scales shimmered in the dim light of the council chamber. As he stood rigidly, claws resting at his sides, his people valued honor above all else, and Frairen had earned countless battle stars fighting in service to his race and the council. Yet today, his assignment was something far stranger than the battlefront. Frairen, the council had addressed him, a booming voice echoing in the grand hall. We have chosen you to oversee a joint mission. It requires special skills. Anything for the council, Frairen replied, bowing deeply. What species do you require me to lead? There was an awkward pause. You will not be leading. You will be partnering with a human. Frairen's eyes widened. Partnering with a human? He had heard stories about their chaotic tactics, unpredictable emotions, and their baffling victories, yet he had never worked alongside one, and the idea unsettled him. The council doors slid open, and in walked Miss Rimiki, a small but fierce-looking human woman in a sleek spacesuit. She wore a confident smirk, and her short dark hair framed her determined face. Miss Rimiki had a reputation among human colonies as a brilliant tactician and diplomat, but to Frairen, she looked nothing like the seasoned warriors of the council races. Frairen, meet Miss Rimiki, the council had announced. Together, you will infiltrate a breakaway faction of the Krivra, who have been threatening the stability of the region. Frairen stared at her, unimpressed. She was tiny compared to him, and she lacked any of the imposing physical attributes common in elite warriors. This is the human. Yep, Miss Rimiki responded, not missing a beat. And you're the lizard I've been assigned to work with. Frairen's scales bristled slightly. I am no lizard. Human? She grinned. Right, Valdrax, I know. Let's not waste time with the formalities. We've got a mission, don't we? Frairen was taken aback by her boldness, but something about the way she carried herself reminded him of his own, kind and yielding, stubborn, and driven by purpose. Still, he had his doubts. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and fragile. How could someone like her be his equal in battle? Chapter 2. Into the Unknown. The mission took them deep into Krivra space, a hostile zone, filled with heavily armed warships and cloaked dangers. Frairen and Rimiki sat side by side in the cramped cockpit of their small stealth vessel. The tension was palpable. I don't understand why the council would send a human to handle this, Frairen grumbled. Your kind are not warriors. Rimiki shrugged, her eyes scanning the radar for enemy ships. Warrior or not, we get things done. That's why they call us HFY. Frairen had heard the term, but it confused him. What does it mean, exactly? She chuckled. It's a long story. Basically, when everything goes wrong and the universe throws the worst at us, humans find a way to survive. It's what we do. Frairen was skeptical, but as the mission unfolded, he began to see that Rimiki's confidence wasn't misplaced. Their stealth vessel narrowly avoided detection on more than one occasion, thanks to her quick thinking, and when they encountered hostile Krivra ships, she had no qualms about engaging in battle, her fingers flying over the controls as she unleashed devastating salvos that crippled the enemy. You fight like a Votrax, Frairen admitted begrudgingly after one particularly intense skirmish. And you're not half bad for a space lizard, she quipped, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Chapter 3. The HFY Moment. The deeper they ventured into Krivra territory, the more dire the situation became. They eventually found themselves cornered in an abandoned outpost. With the Krivra strike team closing in fast, Frairen stood ready, his claws gleaming in the low light. prepared to meet the enemy head-on. Miss Rimiki, however, had a different plan. She quickly scanned the room, her eyes locking onto a nearby control panel. "We don't need to fight them directly," she said, her fingers already tapping on the holographic interface. Frairen frowned. "What are you doing?" "Improvising," she replied. "Human specialty." Within moments, the outpost's defensive systems sprang to life, automated turrets firing at incoming Kriver soldiers. The sudden barrage caught them off guard, and they scrambled for cover as the turrets tore through their ranks. Frairen watched in awe as Rimiki manipulated the ancient systems with ease. She had turned a dire situation into an opportunity for victory without ever having to draw a weapon. When the last of the Kriver were forced to retreat, Frairen looked at her with newfound respect. "I see now what your people mean by HFY. You are remarkable. Human." She flashed him a grin. "Told you, we're survivors. Now let's finish this mission." Chapter 4. The Path Forward. By the time Frairen and Rimiki returned to the Galactic Council, the threat of the Kriver breakaway faction had been neutralized, thanks in no small part to their unlikely partnership. The Council commended them for their success, but Frairen no longer cared about their approval. As he stood beside Rimiki, he realized that humanity was far more than the primitive species the Council once thought. They were resilient, adaptive, and capable of turning impossible situations into triumphs. "Perhaps there is more to learn from your people," Frairen mused as they exited the council chamber. Miss Rimiki chuckled, punching his arm lightly. "Stick around, Frairen. You might just pick up a few more tricks." Frairen grinned, his sharp teeth glinting in the light. "Perhaps, and maybe you'll learn what it means to fight with honor." Their success against the Kriver breakaway faction had spread quickly throughout the Galactic Council, raising the status of both Frairen and Miss Rimiki. However, the deeper they ventured into their partnership, the more they began to uncover about a growing threat: Obsidian Order, a shadowy organization working in the background, manipulating events to their own end. No one knew much about them, but whispers in dark corners spoke of power grabs, assassinations, and alliances with unspeakable forces. Frairen and Rimiki, with their unique skill sets, were soon tasked with investigating this covert group. Their mission was to travel to planet Rigellon, a fringe world known for its lawlessness and rumors of Obsidian Order operations. Chapter 6. Rigellon's Secrets. Rigellon was a far cry from the pristine and orderly worlds of the galactic core. The planet was a sprawling desert wasteland, with ramshackle cities built upon the bones of old civilizations. As their ship descended into one of the planet's major cities, Tormach Spire, Rimiki leaned forward, eyes sharp. "We're looking for a contact named Trauk," she said, pulling up the dossier on her wrist holoscreen. "Ex-mercenary, now running weapons smuggling. He's got intel on the Order." Frairen nodded. "This world reeks of dishonor. I don't trust it." Rimiki smirked. "Good. That means you fit right in." As they stepped out onto the city's dusty streets, the air was thick with tension. Everyone here seemed to be armed and ready for a fight. Rimiki put her jacket tighter around her shoulders, concealing her weapons, while Frairen walked beside her, his hulky form drawing wary glances. "Stay close," Rimiki muttered. "We don't want to start a fight we can't finish." But despite her caution, trouble found them quickly. As they made their way toward a dilapidated bar that served as Trauk's headquarters, a group of thugs blocked their path. Their leader, a massive alien with tusks and glowing red eyes, sneered down at them. "You don't belong here," the thug growled, cracking his knuckles. "And you're not leaving?" Frairen stepped forward, his claws flexing. "You would do well to step aside before I carve your arrogance from your bones." The thug chuckled darkly. "Big words from a Voldrax. Let's see if you can back them up." Before Frairen could move, Rimiki slipped her hand into her jacket and pulled out a small device. With a flick of her wrist, she tossed it at the thug's feet. The device exploded in a blinding flash of light and smoke, disorienting their attackers. "Move!" Rimiki shouted, grabbing Frairen's arm and pulling him toward the bar. The thug stumbled, blinded by the smoke, giving Frairen and Rimiki just enough time to slip into the bar's back entrance. Once inside, they quickly found Trauk, a grizzled, one-eyed alien sitting at a table, layered with datapads and weapons. You made quite an entrance, Truk said, not bothering to look up. What do you want? We're here for information, Rimiki said, sliding into a seat across from him. The Obsidian Order. We know they're active on Rigelon. Truk grunted, his eye narrowing. That's dangerous knowledge to be chasing. The Order doesn't take kindly to outsiders poking around in their business. Frairen leaned in, his claws tapping the table ominously. We do not care for their kindness. Tell us what you know. Truk sighed, taking a long drink from a flask. Fine, I've heard they've got an operation in the old catacombs beneath the city. Black market tech deals, genetic experiments, the whole shady business. But if you go down there, you're walking into the lion's den. I think twice before crossing them. Rimiki smirked. Thanks for the warning, but we don't have time for second thoughts. Chapter 7, Beneath the Spire. The catacombs were an eerie labyrinth of tunnels and forgotten ruins, remnants of an ancient civilization that had once thrived on Rigelon. Frairen and Rimiki moved silently through the dark corridors, their footsteps echoing faintly in the still air. I can't feel the dishonor of this place, Frairen muttered, his senses heightened as they approached the heart of the Order's operations. It reeks of treachery. Keep your head in the game, Rimiki whispered, her eyes scanning the shadows. We're almost there. As they neared a large chamber, they could hear voices dancing a theme along with the hum of machinery. Peeking around a corner, they saw a vast underground facility, filled with alien scientists, soldiers, and crates of contraband tech. At the center of it, all stood a tall figure clad in obsidian black armor, his presence commanding the attention of everyone around him. That must be one of their leaders, Rimiki whispered, her voice low. Looks like we found the right place. Frairen growled softly, his claws itching to strike. What is our plan? Human, a direct assault. Not yet, Rimiki said, shaking her head. We need to gather evidence first. If we can't expose the Order's operations to the Council, we can bring the full force of the galactic fleets down on them. Frairen nodded, though his instincts screamed for action. He would follow Rimiki's lead for now. Together, they crept closer, using the shadows and the noise of the machinery to cover their movements. But just as they reached the control room, something went wrong. An alarm blared, and soldiers flooded the chamber, their weapons drawn. The figure in black armor turned, his voice booming across the room. Intruders, capture them? Well, so much for stealth, Rimiki muttered as she drew her blaster. Frairen bared his teeth, his claws gleaming in the low light. Finally, a real fight. Chapter 8, The Fight for Survival. The chamber erupted into chaos as Frairen and Rimiki fought side by side, their synergy born from their previous battles. Rimiki's quick reflexes and pinpoint accuracy with her blaster complemented Frairen's raw power and combat prowess. Together, they tore through the ranks of soldiers, but the figure in obsidian armor remained calm, watching them with an almost amused expression. You think you can stop us, he said, his voice cold. You have no idea what you're up against. Frairen snarled, charging toward the armored figure, but the leader moved with unnatural speed, dodging his attack and landing a heavy blow that sent Frairen crashing into a nearby wall.